Hi, Jennifer. How have things been since we last met?
Hi. Things are they're pretty much still the same. Today was a nice day, so I did get a chair and sat outside for a little bit. So that I feel like is probably the most energy I've had these last couple weeks. So I did feel nice to that the weather is changing and I know I mentioned before how I used to walk and stuff, so I'm just hoping that, maybe that could be something I can start doing again.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear that. That actually really goes into what I kind of wanted to touch base with you on today and talk about. You know, if you remember last session and the questionnaires you completed, going from there, um, and what you shared, feeling, down most days, low energy, trouble sleeping, isolating yourself. Um, Besides what you did today, I just want to backtrack for a second, because that's great progress, but do all those other things kind of still feel the same?
Yes, yeah, they do.
So from a scale from like 1 to 10, 1 being not intense at all to 10 being the most intense, it could be, how would you say those feelings were? Where do you fall this past week?
From last week,
Yeah.
and you said 10 is most intense.
Yes.
Um, I would say maybe like a 6 now, just given that I feel like maybe I made a little progress going outside.
Mhm.
And I'm hopeful that if the weather stays nice, that maybe next week I would be a 7.
That's great. Yeah. So, have you ever heard of cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT?
I feel like maybe I've heard friends talking about it before.
So, what CBT is, it kind of, focuses on how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected and how one of those can help improve the others. So, your example of being able to grab a chair and go sit outside today might feel like a small step, but it is still a step in the right direction, which kind of goes into what we want to talk about today. So that's great. Can you tell me any thoughts you've had in the past week that
Uh,
can that like sounds like this?
like, yeah, I think just like mainly like my thoughts of like sadness, now that like my boyfriend and I haven't been together and I haven't heard from him. Um, I know I mentioned before just like feelings of like, was it my fault? Did I do something? I feel like those are, constantly always running through my
Hmm.
mind.
Yeah, those are definitely strong thoughts, and it makes sense why you'd feel that way. But I want to ask you to look into it a little more. Is there any evidence behind these thoughts?
Um, I don't really think so. Nothing like proving that I did anything. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think I think I'm just blaming myself.
Mhm. Yeah, so maybe we could focus on challenging that thought a little. And that could look like, I might feel really sad and stuck right now, but this won't last forever. And I can take small steps to feel better, which is something you kind of already did without knowing you did it, which is great.
Yeah, going
You
out.
grabbing
Yeah,
that chair and getting. exactly. Like, so when you think of grabbing that chair and going outside today, how does that make you feel compared to, that sadness that and those other thoughts you were kind of just describing to me when I asked you?
It made me feel good just to be outside in nature, and the sun was shining earlier, so it just, I feel like it gave me something to look forward to.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's great. Um, so I want to kind of, that was a really great small step. Is there any other small step that you can maybe think of that we can plan for you to do this week? So I know you mentioned in the past you like to go to the gym, you like to spend time with friends and family, you were a lot more active. Can you think of maybe one other small realistic goal that you have?
Sure, I think just not, like I said, now that the weather is getting better outside, maybe just even going for like a short walk or something. Um, that might help me to have like clear my mind, have a little bit more energy. Um, and that would be good because I have not really left my house very much.
I think that's a really good small step goal to kind of have. You know, after this breakup, I know it can be hard and it might not feel perfect right away, but if we can kind of keep focusing on taking, one small step at a time, we could get there.
Yeah, I think that definitely is something that I could work on from now until we meet again. And would be happy to report. I feel like it's a little bit of homework. It pushes me outside because I don't want to let you down and let you know that I did get out and do something.
You know what though? If I don't want you to think of it that way, because if you can't and you don't, that's fine. This isn't the only option we have. There's so many other things. We can try something else. If this doesn't work, we'll try something else. I don't want you to feel pressure or anything. I do believe you can do it because I'm so proud that you were able to get outside today, with that chair. So you kind of already did it before I came here and talked to you about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely
So,
something that I will work on.
mm, how are you feeling right now compared to when you first came into the session today?
I think I feel a little better just knowing that I made a little bit of progress by getting outside, and then that I'm now making, even just a small plan to just get moving outside now. I feel like I'm much better than when we first started.
Yeah, that's great. So today we kind of just, talked about last session and how you've been feeling and what's one small step that you can take to kind of keep moving up in that direction. Um, so if you can't do it, that's fine. We'll do something else. But if you can do it, that's great. So I think you can try to aim to do that, and we can meet again next week. How's that sound?
I like that. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.